Hi, everyone, and welcome to Pedagogically Speaking, a podcast where we're growing together, we're reflecting, and we're trying to thrive as educators. I'm so glad you're here. I'm your host, Alana. I am an inclusive education teacher. I'm a mentor, and I'm someone who has spent years walking alongside educators through the highs and the many lows, as well as everything in between. And so this is my podcast, and this is where we're hoping to share some wisdom that we haven't gained from textbooks, but that we've gained throughout the years in our careers, working alongside each other and working with students. So thanks for joining us and welcome to Ange. It's so nice to have you here. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got into teaching?
All right. Yeah, thank you for having me. I got into teaching. It's a long story kind of, but I originally got out of high school and continued with sports through coaching in what then was a junior high school. And so I was coaching and volunteering with youth, and I was working out of high school, and had hopes of going into nursing. And so I actually started in nursing, not teaching, while volunteering. And I actually had like a pretty bad car accident
Oh,
in my like at 20. Yeah. And like I really hurt my back and sort of had to reevaluate what I was going to do. And
wow.
had some specialists that recommended that nursing obviously is a really physically demanding job. And they weren't sure at that time, what my sort of like soft tissue injuries were gonna do. And so I had a friend, a very close friend that was in phys ed at UVic. And she was like, listen, you're coaching, you love working with kids, like you want to do something that's like giving back to your community. And you wanted to do that as a nurse.
Right.
But what if it meant teaching for you? I thought about it and I got to UVic and did the prereqs for the phys ed program. And the dean told me I'd never get in
What?
and was like, you're not gonna get in. Like I think I had an A minus average, and he was like, you won't get in. This is a really tough program. And I was obviously devastated.
Yeah.
And, he was like, "You should start taking, like, elementary school math and things like that to, like, boost your GPA." Anyways, I got in, like, the next
Yeah.
year because I rocked the interview, which, like, is just an example of, like, good educators are not exactly who this textbook idea is. I would consider an A minus a pretty good average,
That's
and in
amazing.
my
That's better than my average.
specialty area, but, like, some of the smartest educators are not necessarily the best in the classroom
That's so
either. And so, like, it's a really good example of the interview process for the Z program. Anyways, I got in, um, and killed it, and the dean of education actually, like, at the end of the program, recommends only, like, 2 people to Victoria to hire, right? Like, this is 2012.
wow.
Anyways, they recommended me to, like, get an interview on the TOC list. Anyways,
Yeah, they
so,
did.
like, that's how I got into education.
That is amazing. That is amazing. When the dean was saying, like, "No, you're not gonna get in," like, what was going through your head at that time?
I think I was pretty devastated, like, as a person who had to be resilient their whole life. I remember being like, "I finally got to university, and, like, I'm doing these university transfer stuff because I had gone to Camosun, and I was like, "This guy thinks, like, he's the gatekeeper," and also, I, like, understand that there needs to be an average and that competitive programs, are really important, but, like, flash forward to, like, a teacher shortage now
Yes,
and the reality of what an educator is, I think that it was pretty harsh, and a it could have been a different conversation.
definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you keep the confidence to kind of keep going for it and not let that just kind of like I know you mentioned about your resilience, but were there people that you were like leaned on at that time?
I I think that, like, my friend who was in the program and, like, people I had in my life at the time, um, like, I was a good coach and, was always sort of like a community connector or a relationship builder, and it was like, I didn't have a doubt that I would get in. I just thought
Yeah.
it would delay my entrance because it was so hard to get in. Or I was like, "Well, maybe I'll go to another school, like, I won't
Right.
go to UVic." Yeah.
Did you apply for other schools too besides UVic?
Nope, I didn't.
That's amazing.
I just applied for the phys ed program there. And I think at the beginning I did university transfer, so I had to do a bunch of first year courses.
Right.
Because to get in, you had to do anatomy, which is like the gatekeeper, and a physiology class, also a gatekeeper. And like, I actually have never studied harder than I did for anatomy,
Yeah.
141 or whatever it was.
I can't. I wanted to be the next Noam Chomsky back in, like, when I was at university, and I could not get through economics, so I
Right.
gave up on that dream.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. I had to make up, like, little raps, like, about all the veins and the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons to, like, memorize where they were because you had to know every single thing. Like, the undergrad is very close to, like, a kinesiology undergrad,
Right.
besides, like, the teaching aspects.
I guess you
And
could
then
even go into that later
I
on if you
total
wanted to.
well, I could because I also did my master's at
Mm,
UVic in
nice.
coaching. So I had a great teacher at UVic who, we really connected together. And she sponsored my master's project through coaching. She encouraged me to apply.
Oh, good.
And that was really cool. Like that was a cool program. And I never, thought that I would do a master's or anything like that.
Well, that's
I
good
was
that
just like, "Shit, I, like, went to university and I, like, finished university, and my parents didn't really do that," and so it was kinda cool.
first of your family, yeah, that's
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah,
So you talked a lot about coaching. What have
yeah.
you what have you coached or what were you coaching before you, like, became a teacher?
I was coaching ice hockey, actually,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, I was coaching, like, girls and women's ice hockey, and I have, like, my Hockey Canada, like, level 1 coaching,
Nice.
which is, like, junior A hockey, but it's really hard to coach hockey and be an educator. Like,
Right.
the timing and the travel, it's a lot of, like, early morning stuff, which is tough when you're, showing up to work, and so, yeah, so I haven't coached probably since I was doing my undergrad, um, hockey, and then I had been coaching basketball at the same time. So, I like yeah, I was just trying to do the math, like, I think I've been coaching at Esquimalt since, like, 2011. Like, and
Wow.
I was coaching before that, like at Arbutus, junior high, middle school, and then yeah, so that's kinda crazy.
That's very impressive. And then I don't know what it was like getting like, teaching in BC in 2012,
Oh, it
but
was crazy.
like, how did you like, what was it as a PE teacher and, like, a kind of a high school PE teacher, but
Yeah.
you have to be a substitute teacher, like, were you working anywhere, or how did like, what was it like at the beginning of your career?
Well, it was really tough.
Right.
Like, if you remember, it was like Christy Clark and it was like Victoria's not hiring.
Yeah.
Like, at UVic, it was like, "Don't show your tattoos, don't show your piercings, consider
Wow.
not being out at school. You're not gonna get a job in Victoria, so you should probably move across seas."
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty crazy time to enter education, and then it was like I probably TOC'd for, like, 6 or 7 years, and I delivered pizza and was making more money delivering pizza than I was teaching at that time because
Wow.
the pay scale was low, the TOC cost was low. It was the time where you had to book 3 days in a row to bump up your pay,
Oh my goodness.
like, Yeah, it was like a certain price if you booked a day and then had a day off, but if you booked 3 in a row, there was, like, an incentive, and I think it was, like, I don't even remember, was it, like, 20 or $30? But, like, I think I was making, like, under $200 a day, and I was making at least, like, 200 bucks a night delivering pizza. But I'm trying to build seniority, so I'm, like, delivering pizza till 2 a.m., and then I'm, like, trying to get calls at 6.
Right. Okay.
So it was pretty crazy. I was pretty tired. I basically did my practicum and I took TOC shifts like everywhere. I almost got a job but the district said I wasn't PE qualified, which is kind of a joke for elementary school because I was a PE specialist and it was a PE position. Even though my degree is K to 12, and then I did a lot of, like, small sorta, like, contracts, like credit recovery or, like, we called it, like, fast track, like, kids who were failing everything would
Right.
see me every day, all day for, like, a month. And then we were on strike,
Yeah.
and I was a TOC on strike and, was pretty vocal about it because like, a friend of mine who had been teaching for a long time was getting laid off every year. And it was just a crazy time. And so I did an interview on CBC actually about being a TOC and being on strike. And then I finally got a contract. It was like small, like maybe a 0.57, and it was dance, dance careers. And like
Dance
I'm a g-
careers.
I'm a good dancer. Like
Cool.
I'll say that, but like I'm not choreographically talented or So, but I knew the girls and I had done subbing before and I knew some of the guys in the class. And it was about like the kids, it was part-time counseling, part-time, dancing. I had to go to festival. I had to put on like a show. I like would go home and practice choreography every night, and to then
That's
like teach it.
wow.
And I took like one dance class as part of the phys ed program in
Okay.
university, so I put that, like, on my application, and I told, like, the principal, who, like, really likes me, but obviously, like, if you're not qualified to teach dance, like, it's kinda crazy to think you can do
Yes.
this, and so I went to the Christmas party, and I was like, "I'll be dancing all night," as my interview process, and then I think she got approval because there was nobody and they needed somebody, so I
Yeah.
got it, so I taught dance all year, which was crazy, and I that's how I met Carolina.
Oh,
Because Carolina I had been doing tapestry while TOCing for 3
wow.
years. I had done tapestry for the union, and I knew Carolina from all the meetings, and Carolina's daughter is a dancer.
Right.
And Carolina's like, "Oh, you should talk to my daughter. She would volunteer and help you out." She came 3 times a week, and we choreographed these together, and we would spend evenings practicing in the theater together.
Wow.
And so we did a modern piece and, like, a Beyoncé for festival, and we went together. So, like, that's how I know Carolina, like, a long time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You mean you were like, so when you say you went to tapestry, like you were presenting at tapestry, like workshops?
No, I ran the conference for, like,
You
3
ran the
years.
conference?
Yeah.
Wow. You've done everything. Nice.
Yeah, great for a TOC because I could do it at night
Yeah.
and work during the day.
Yeah. So the dance position was like it was posted 3 times, you got it. Did you apply all 3 times or just the last time?
No, I think I applied all 3 times. I
Okay.
basically applied for anything. I've also taught a bunch of things. So, like, I'm earth science qualified because I've taught it. I'm,
Wow.
like, junior English qualified because I've taught it. I'm now technically dance qualified. I'm like, my minor at UVic was, like, social studies, but it was geography.
Okay.
So which isn't, like, a credential at the district, but I've taught human geography 12 a lot, so
Wow.
I made them give it to me, or I did that process.
That's so cool. So, I mean, you talked about being resilient. Am thinking it's more confidence. Like, I cannot, but it's also just like, what makes you, so you take a job, you wanted a job, you applied for the dance job, and you did have some dance, like, you took a dance class with your PE, but what made you, it sounded like you got really invested in learning how to dance, learning how to teach choreo, and then
Right.
doing it. What motivated you to do that and not just kind of think, okay, good, like at least I've got a job now and I'm just gonna kind of go with what I know.
Right. Well, I just wanted to do a good job, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I wasn't gonna show up and, like, not do anything for dance. So, like, I had a friend teach me how to do, like, a dance warm up,
Wow.
and then I also was just kinda, like, thinking outside the box. So, like, I would like, some of the senior students, I would have, like, run the warm up. And Amelia would be there like 1 day or 2 days a week, and then I would do like a genius hour. The students once a week had their day to talk to me about choreography, to plan and choreograph their own small sort of pieces that then
Yeah.
we could have at the end of the year showcase. So when you start like working your way back is kind of what I did. It was like, well, 1 day a week is genius hour. It's 20% of your time. 2 days a
Nice.
week, is gonna be here. We're gonna do the warm up together and we're gonna work on the piece. Yeah. And then the other days, it was like breaking down small pieces of the choreo and then doing it. I maybe was just desperate. Like, it was pretty desperate then, like those times to get a job. But
Yeah.
I also I really wanted to be a part of the Esquimalt community. I was coaching there. They were working really hard to give me as many TOC shifts as possible.
Yeah.
People would be like, "When are you available? I'll book my dentist appointment that day." I have physio on this day. Ange, are you working? Oh, I am. Okay. Well, I'll book it on Monday when you're not working, you know?
Right.
But I think that they did that because they saw like that I really fit the style of our students
Yeah.
and that I was working really hard. I was like volunteering for everything. I was like chaperoning the dances. And although I still do all those things now and love it. I think it's one of the best parts of the job, doing those aspects that aren't actually the job.
Definitely. And being part of that community. And you've mentioned too before that, like the relationship with your students, you really
Yeah,
want to foster that relationship. You're coaching and you were coaching as well. What were you and are you coaching at high school currently?
I'm coaching the senior girls basketball team. And then I kinda, like, just oversee, like, girls, like, basketball, so I, like, the junior coaches and stuff, and I do all the fundraising with a couple people for both teams, and, like, we're throwing, a winter break party for girls basketball in the last week of school, stuff like that, so that's the team I'm currently coaching. I
Wow.
also have coached, the ultimate frisbee team
Oh, cool.
called the Ultimate Otters, and me and my really good friend Tim started that and it started out just for fun, and now it's, like, gotten pretty competitive, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so I coach those 2 things currently.
You've been coaching for about 14 or maybe you're in your 15th year of coaching.
Yeah,
Mhm. Have you always coached the girls' teams, the girls' basketball?
yes. I've been asked to coach the boys' teams before,
Right.
but I don't think all of our best coaches should go to the boys' teams.
No, definitely not. And how do you see, like, how has sports for girls in high school, at least in you with your experience,
Yeah,
changed or has it not changed?
great question. I think it's changed dramatically. I think the amount of funding and attention that girls' basketball. Because I think things go in ebbs and flows, like with coaching and staffing, and, they were wearing uniforms that were 10 years old,
Oof.
and nobody was really advocating for them. It was like part-time here, part-time here. But they used to have a good girls program. I remember playing against the girls there. And so I think that's changed. I think we've really brought up the standard of girls basketball, not necessarily like our competitive nature, but like what it means to be a part of a sport, the community that we've built. Every year I like throw an alumni game where
Oh,
my current team plays all the players from the past, and
wow.
my past players, they show up from that 2011 team,
That's
which
amazing.
is really cool. It's like it, like, makes me teary-eyed every time because
Yes.
I've now seen lots of these women, become amazing and also give back to their community. Like, a girl that I coached, in 2020 is helping me coach this year. A girl who I coached last year is going to come back and help with the team. A girl I coached, 8 years ago is coaching the boys volleyball team. Like I see these girls thriving, and I like to say we're coaching girls on like what it means to be like a strong, independent woman through
Right.
basketball. Like
That's
it's just a
amazing.
tool for us to sort of like uplift people is the reality.
That's fantastic.
So it's changed a lot. I would say I have one more thing to say is that girls traditionally are quite nervous, and I'm not sure what's happening at middle school, but they're not really
Mhm.
playing a lot of basketball. And so I would say the skill level has changed,
Okay.
and that always will ebb and flow. But COVID, killed a lot of sports for girls. I looked up, I do like a lot of the research and look at things, and I think it's she sport or her sport does a lot of research, and a lot of female identifying students dropped out of like team sports post COVID.
Yeah, I've seen that statistic.
Yeah, and I would say now it's kind of like upswing. It's like
Okay.
we had 47 girls try out for basketball
That's amazing.
for 2 teams. It's great, but then it sucks when you gotta cut them.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
like pretty devastating.
That's fair. I know girls basketball was a big thing.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Go Storm.
Go Storm. Shout out.
Yeah. Sorry, getting off track.
No,
I
it's
just
okay,
want to
it's
go
okay.
back to the uniform thing because it drives me
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
So I'm don't watch a lot of basketball, but I love an interview like Don Staley or
Oh, hell yeah. Yep,
like so good. But I watch rugby, of course, because my
right.
husband's from New Zealand, and so is my daughter was born there too. And it just drives me insane watching women in like ill-fitting like uniforms.
Totally.
And I don't mean it like I'm judging them, but I mean it like I don't like it when it looks like they just have the men's kit. Like,
Right.
why is it not like suited to their bodies? I think. And I also
I
just
know.
think it's not fair when it's not suited. Like a number 10 or actually a number 9 is gonna look quite different than, like, a number 1, and I don't know what all of the names are, but I know the numbers, and, yeah, I just find it so frustrating. Or, like, even just what did I find out last year? That women's, like, mainly women's soccer cleats, they're all actually just for men, and they've just
Totally.
said that they're for women.
Yep. Same thing, like hockey helmets. The first hockey helmet for a female head has just been created.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
my daughter hates her helmet.
a lot of the science is like not focused on or has never looked at women participating.
Yeah.
Like when I played hockey, for example, there were no women's chest pads,
Oh, wow,
you
I didn't even
know?
think about that.
Yeah, totally. And like even now, it's like pretty limited. Next time you go in somewhere, you should go look.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
of it because, like, my daughter's only she plays ringette, not hockey, but she's only 9,
right.
so I didn't even think about
Yep.
it if you're older. But I
Think
do know
about
her helmet is pink, but it does not fit her head, and she hates it.
shoot. Shoot.
It, like, squishes her.
Yeah, she needs a different helmet.
It's impossible to find a helmet that fits her head.
Yeah, what about the one that moves?
So, yeah, she's got that one.
That's crazy.
I know, because the problem is like, so you know how, like, a bike helmet, like, it twists in the back, so then it just
Yep,
kind of this one,
yep,
like, the ones for kids don't, it just goes up, but this is the part that's, like, getting her.
right.
Anyways, it's fine. She can barely play ringette, so I'm not worried about it. I was like, "She's got dyspraxia, we're just doing as the best we can."
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The uniform thing is really interesting because, like, we bought uniforms, they look the same as the guys, and short shorts are in. So all of a sudden, all of our girls' shorts are mixed with the guys' shorts. And I'm trying to fit uniforms, and like these girls are like, they're so long.
Right.
And so somehow a ton of the boys have taken the girls' shorts, and now we're wearing guys' shorts. And it's like, it's really funny.
That is
It
too
sucks,
funny.
but it's really funny.
You're gonna have to get the
And
home ec
then,
department to, like, hem everything.
The other thing is that we generally are buying uniforms that aren't size inclusive.
Yes, definitely.
So I always make sure I like buy a double XL jersey. Um, and also you need to have a white and a dark uniform. And it's
Yeah.
against the rules to not have that. But I got red and black. And every time people ask me, I'm like, listen, girls don't want to wear a white uniform.
No.
They get their period. So I decided we're going red and black. And then when I say that, they usually are like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, just how ridiculous is it that, like, on the world stage, they had to talk about that last year as well, like, how women shouldn't have to wear white shorts when they're playing soccer even, like,
Totally.
I
Yep.
know, it's so ridiculous. It's like society wants to treat women or people who identify as women like, so different. Like, "Oh, well, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that," and police us. And then on the flip side, it's like, "Oh, well, the guys do this, you should be able to do it too." And it's like, "Well, which one is it?
Totally.
Like, which
I
one is
know.
it? Can I
Yeah.
do
What would you
everything a guy can
like?
do?"
Yeah, I
Or,
know.
you know? I saw even just yesterday, like, driving home from Bouchard Gardens or Butcher Gardens, I never know how to pronounce that thing. Um, and there's 2 people coming off the Goose because I live in Esquimalt, running, and they had little lights, and they were on the Goose anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I was like, "Man, I couldn't run on that." That's so it's pitch black, and she was running with someone who presented as male, so I'm sure that, you know, she felt safe, but I was like, "It's too scary." Like, I get yelled at during the day. I can't imagine
Yeah.
anything at night. And especially also that's just also when, like, the deer are more active, there's raccoons, like, anything with
Right. Yeah.
steering. I was running it was, like, the morning, and it was daytime, and I was in New Zealand, and I was running, but, like, a Kesha song had come on, and I didn't realize that, like, there's growling at the beginning of it, and so I, like, stopped, and I was,
That's
like,
so
looking, but
funny.
it was, like I had my headphones in, so it was obviously the song. Anyways, yeah, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the scared person.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that was it the dean had said, like or that people were like, "Okay, you have tattoos, don't show them. You have piercings, don't show
Oh,
them.
yeah.
And if you're
That was just
out"
like one of our classes.
okay. "And if you're out, like, don't be so out."
Right.
So how did the presence or absence of the LGBTQ plus community or role models for you as you were either growing up as a student or as you were becoming a teacher in university, like,
Right.
how did that impact you, and how does that kind of make you show up today?
Okay, great question. I would say that I don't well, you never really know, but I would guess that none of my educators were queer in
Okay.
university. And so I also think it was like 2011, 2010 when we're having these conversations around like, these are things you really need to consider if you're gonna open up about these things in at your employment or whatever. I think that what was I gonna do? I don't think I made a decision going into the profession being I'm gonna be out, I'm not gonna be out. But
Yeah.
I don't remember growing up with anybody who was an openly out teacher, you know? So I did consider that and was probably like a huge uh, reason why I probably decided to come out. My mentor teacher, one of them was within the 2S LGBTQ community and also had a nose piercing. And so I remember being like, oh, well, that's really cool,
Yeah,
And my other practicums, I hadn't really encountered any other queer people. And then, the GSA was pretty strong. And I knew the sponsor teacher who happened to be like the car auto shop teacher. And I was like,
Oh,
this
nice.
is really cool.
Yeah.
This is like sort of like this, masculine, hetero male, being in charge of the GSA. Like, I'm into this.
That's
Like,
cool.
this is cool.
Yeah,
And so he asked if I wanted to be involved, and I think I was just kinda like who I am from the start. And it
that's
was sort of
awesome.
like I was like that in all aspects of my life. Um, and so I was like, I'm just doing it. And I didn't, You know, honestly, it was easier being an out teacher in 2012 than it is now.
Oh, wow, okay. And
Which
what
is
makes
kinda
it
crazy.
that's a big, like, bombshell statement harder.
I think that it's getting harder, and how do I navigate it? Just like my community,
Right.
you know, being able to talk to people. It's one of the reasons why I joined the executive or applied to be on the executive because I wanted to, like, build more community for other teachers because
Yeah.
I was kinda, like, fed up about it. I feel like to us LGBTQ teachers within the queer community need to be meeting
Yeah.
on a more regular basis, and it's a goal I have for the year, and they feel alone and in charge of everything queerness.
Yes, that's definitely something that seems to have come up in the last, and then it's like asking so much of people who are in that space and to do
Yeah,
even more work on educating you and other people. That's kind of why I really appreciate it's actually, one of the things is like because we need to be educating ourselves.
yeah, and besides all of those things, which are really valid points and real, like, it's also like, I don't really understand, like, trans kids, like, can you help me with that?
Whereas it's like
Or
kids are kids. All kids are the same.
yeah, or, like, you know, this kid is showing up to rugby practice and, like, they're saying they identify as this gender, like, what do I do? Or,
Right.
you know, it's also like people wanna talk about, like, personal issues with you, which I think is weird because 'cause you're, like, a colleague, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's, like, school related and sometimes it's not. And then all of a sudden you're, like, in this conversation and you're like, "Oh, like, you're actually talking about, like, the people I identify with, and
Yeah.
you're not realizing that you're talking about me."
Wow.
And I think that just, like, happens to people. Like, and I think right now is a time when people feel really empowered to be prejudiced, really empowered to be sexist, really empowered to be homophobic and transphobic.
Yeah.
They feel like, you know, and also I think we're just, like, really culturally diverse, and our religious backgrounds are very diverse,
Right.
and there's a lot of intersectionality there, but I don't think that, like, allows us to have hateful speech,
No, it definitely
you know?
doesn't.
So I think queer teachers are leaving the profession because lots of us are almost done
Right.
and or have already left. And I think everyone's scared on what to do, which, like, is fair. Nobody wants to intentionally, you know, ostracize people.
I agree. Also, all those religious beliefs have people who are queer in their religion.
Totally,
And I think
totally.
that's what people keep forgetting is that there are queer Muslims, there are queer Jews, there are queer Christians, there are queer
Yes.
Catholics. People,
Yep, I
queer people
agree.
are everywhere and trans people are everywhere and have been
And have been forever.
ever,
Exactly. That's it.
forever.
Forever.
And I think we've really gotten into this. Like I actually I had a very different upbringing than most people. And I totally remember I didn't realize that growing up in the 80s, I did not realize that people couldn't get married if they were gay. I went to my mom and I was like, "What do you mean? Like I thought people just got married when they were in love." And she's like, "Oh no, they can't do that because this whole my student identifies as this gender, what do I do?" We've gotten so used to being like, "Oh, I don't see myself as married. I am married because I hit these steps and so like I'm married." But
Mhm,
that's the same thing as saying, "Well, I identify as a woman. Like I'm a woman
mhm,
because I identify as a person and as a
mhm,
woman, so that makes me a woman." Just like if you got married, you identify as being married. I'm frustrated that it doesn't hit that easily with so many different people.
mhm.
And it's also must be very frustrating too to work in a profession that has things like rainbow weeks or GSAs, but like you said, is not. taking care of its two-spirited LGBTQIA plus community of teachers and
Mhm.
students and making sure that they're staying.
And I think that, like, Rainbow Week is quite stressful for lots of educators.
I know a
Like,
lot of people take it up.
there are a lot of educators that aren't out, and it's because they don't wanna have a conflict with their families.
Right.
And then and
Oof.
then there's all these questions about Rainbow Week and opting out, and I think it's a lot more stressful and a lot more personal than people think it is, having these conversations on a daily basis. We did the equity audit last year,
Yeah.
and I ran the 2S LGBTQIA+ session, and a lot of people feel alone. Like, that was, like, one of the big themes that I got, is
Wow.
that even just that equity audit of being together and hearing that it's hard at other schools, you know, that community piece was really helpful. And then the other piece around another piece that came up was around, like, benefits, access to paternity and maternity leaves, and a breastfeeding parent is not a birthing parent, yet still cannot get a maternity leave.
Wow.
If you can get a maternity leave from the government, then we'll pay you 17 weeks of top up. But if it only is parental, then you only get 10 weeks. So, for
That's
example, I was on leave because my partner suffered from postpartum anxiety, depression quite badly, but I could only get 10 weeks of top up, even though I was the main caregiver,
wow.
because that's the non birthing parent's time. And somebody at this equity audit was the female identifying partner who took lactation medication and couldn't get the maternity leave top up, even though they were at home breastfeeding the baby.
Wow. That
So,
is
like, that needs to
discrimination.
change. But everything it feels like is taking rights away from women educators, like on the proposed whatever.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even think about that, obviously, because haven't had to. I guess it's just making sure that those are on the bargaining table for ones that are advocating for that to happen, and but then also making sure that at a provincial level that it gets taken up.
Yeah, because even like adoption, you only get 10 weeks top up.
That's wild.
If you were two men having a baby, there would be no opportunity for you to have a maternity 17 weeks top up. You can get the year off
Good job.
tops up. Yeah. So I got the time off and got EI, but the
Ugh.
difference between EI and 7 weeks of top up is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, that's a
And
lot of
if
money.
if you're paying for it for families, which is what
Yeah.
it should be if your family is having a baby, the top up is for the family.
Yes.
It's not like my wife works even in the district.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand, like, if you
They're
don't
just
even work in
saving
the
money.
you should just have it.
Yep.
And then I went like, you must have do you have to, like okay, yeah, that's a rabbit hole. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, it
So
came up in the equity audit, and I was like, at the time, was like, "Oh, it's just me. Am I the only one that's kind of pissed off about this?" But it was like, "Nope, people are pissed off about this."
I just don't understand, like, I guess we can't, but I just feel like I wish people knew about it, like, I wish it was public knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was a way to just make it like, "Hey, did you know that this thing that is discriminatory is happening, and it's happening, like, now?"
Yep. Yep. And like Starbucks has fertility in their benefits.
Wow.
Ours is really limited.
Yes, because
But
you
we're in education, and education wants more kids.
but and we're also in a female-dominated profession, you'd think that we would be able to have all of these things.
Yep. Well,
Oh, okay.
females who adopt or are the other partner don't.
Yeah.
And also, where in this policy are, you know, a non binary person wouldn't get anything, technically.
Right, they would have to identify as one or the other when they don't identify as either.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Although a non-binary person could give birth,
Oh, of course, just like,
so then would get maternity leave.
yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
should
kind
just
of all
be
interesting.
a leave for the family. It should just be a family
Yeah,
leave.
totally.
Yeah. And let's go back to your role as a PE teacher,
Yeah,
which I don't think are you doing PE this year? Or are you doing careers?
I'm doing both. Yeah,
And I know growing up, I only had male PE teachers, like
right.
from kindergarten through I had to take it in grade 9 and never took it again.
Yeah.
All male teachers. And I'm actually yeah, and I've only ever worked with male PE teachers, but my daughter actually is lucky that she's only had female PE teachers.
Okay, cool.
Oh, actually, one year she had a male, but it's been mainly female PE teachers. So you're a female PE teacher, you're in women's a profession that is dominated, quote unquote, by women, but you're in a male field. But also, what is it like? Like your students, do you have is it a mix of
Right.
female, male? Is it mainly male? And
My
how does that
students,
work?
yeah. Well, at the beginning of my career, I think most high schools had female PE classes and male PE classes. And obviously
Wow.
now we don't divide by gender.
Yeah.
One, it doesn't go along with our gender and inclusion policy at the district. And two,
I know this.
they changed it. There's a lot of science that girls participating or female identifying non-binary students participating just in that group have greater success and confidence, but it is not what we do because it also is there's lots, I'm sure, of logistics like timetabling and excluding and all these things.
Right.
I currently have, like last year, I was teaching probably 5 PE classes.
Wow.
I had two active living 11, 12 classes. I had two athletic leadership classes, and
Oh,
I teach a PE out of the timetable class.
wow.
And then I had my career stuff. And this year, I am only teaching a couple because I have more careers. And it's a mixed class of PE 910
Mm,
um, in the timetable and out. But like last year, my active living class, anyone can sign up, but it was 29 boys, 29 grade
oh,
11 and 12 boys and me. And
wow.
there were a couple girls in the class, but they quickly dropped. And then a couple girls and they dropped because the dynamic was just not what they were looking for.
Right.
It was the only time in my career that's ever happened.
Wow. Okay.
It was a really unique experience. I really liked it, but you have to have the right personality, you know? I can hang with the bros and I can hang with the ladies and everyone in between. So it was okay for me. I liked it. All the teachers, are male PE teachers. We have somebody who just got a temporary block of
Oh,
mine because I'm doing careers and she's new from Vancouver. But yeah, it's just been me for quite a long time
right.
in the department since my practicum teacher left and is teaching at Vic High.
Oh, okay. Are there other career teachers as well, or are you the only
There's
career?
other Nope, there's lots of careers teachers because there's
Oh,
8 credits of career life education for graduation. And then I do like the capstone project
right.
for all the grade 12s. And then my friend is away, so I'm doing his work experience block and I'm doing some of his pathways and partnerships, which is like connecting to Camosun and UVic, doing dual credits and stuff like that. So more of that's next semester. And then the out of the timetable PE class is something we developed with like counseling and admin. And it's a hybrid model PE class for students that have challenges with being in a regular PE class for various reasons. Some of it is noise level. Some students have medical conditions. Some students are in the queer community and not comfortable in the PE class. Some students have different learning disabilities.
Right. So
Yeah,
you help and cater. You help take barriers away from physical education, quite frankly.
totally, totally. And so I run that
That's
outside
amazing.
the timetable. Yeah.
Working mainly with men, how have you been able to confidently navigate issues that come up, either working with female or non-binary or gender non-conforming students, or even just like, have you seen the level of understanding of women in sports rise in these male PE teachers as well? Or have you had to help them along? Like, how has that kind of been for you?
I think all of those things exist. Um I think that the men that I work with genuinely want to care for all their students. I think that they sometimes ask questions,
Okay.
that are um difficult conversations to have, but because we've known each other for quite a long time, I think that sometimes it's also difficult to work with all men and there's things that they don't necessarily understand or I feel like I have to explain,
Yeah.
which can be like tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like really up and down. I think there's lots of like amazing moments and then there's like lots of difficult ones. And then sometimes I'm feeling like just trying to like manage everybody sometimes, you know?
Right.
And people all have their own stuff going on, and that comes out within a work environment. But
Right.
I've had conversations with colleagues and been in tears, for sure, and been, you're yelling or you're coming across really rude and had obviously had apologies from these people.
Right. Being a careers teacher is a big deal because you're helping students navigate CMOS and UVic and all of
Right.
those things, and presumably moving them like some days like to those places to
Yeah.
get some learning. And then you're actively teaching and you have one class that's outside of the timetable, plus you're coaching, and that presumably happens outside of the timetable as well.
Yep.
And you're a parent.
Yep.
How is that going?
It's really hard. It's really hard. Um, yeah. It and like the current job I'm in, I'm tracking like, you know, I don't know. Like there's like 250 and there's 50, that's like 300. It's like probably like 400 kids, 500 kids.
Right.
So
That
it's a lot.
yeah.
And because it's like outside the timetable things, I think like it's really easy to blur boundaries of like, this is my time for this and this is my time for that. And I was just talking to a friend about it this morning about like, I feel like I have no time to do anything. And yet I'm teaching one block in the timetable. But it's because I'm having all of these like conversations with kids. And then I'm also organizing events and things like that. And so I need to have like, need to work on like time boundaries for each course that I'm actually teaching.
Okay. So
And then outside, like basketball, sorry, in the afternoons and things like that is difficult. Like right now, I'm finding it pretty challenging because my assistant coach is coaching junior girls and he used to like do a lot of things without me. And I could just
oh,
show up, do a little bit, and then come back. So, like, I would be at the practice, but I would be half an hour late because I would work all day. I would go home, be with Hudson and my wife, put Hudson to sleep, and I'd drive back to school for 7:30, and then I would coach till 9 p.m.,
oh wow.
and then I would come home. But now Hudson goes to bed a little bit later, my wife is doing a little bit better. I'm coaching from 5:30 to 30, and then I can usually get home and put him to bed. But, there's not a ton of time with traffic going home and coming back,
Yeah.
like, at 3:30, and so I'm feeling a little bit stressed, and, like, for example, I've got basketball Monday night in Souk, Wednesday night at Esquimalt, Thursday
Mm.
night in at GNS, and then Friday after school. And then I have, like, a department head meeting, insert executive meetings. It feels a bit crazy.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah,
How do you keep choosing to do these things? Even
I
I
know.
assume even an easy day feels heavy. I can't imagine what happens. Like, I'm a learning support teacher, and I have days where the students are just really, really struggling. You are
Totally.
doing careers and PE. Both of those things are where students are feeling vulnerable and frustrated and
Yeah,
high levels of anxiety. It can't
totally.
be easy. How do you
No,
keep choosing?
I know. I think I'm choosing it because I can see, like, the crazy impact it has for kids. Like, it can be
Right,
life-changing.
right, and so that's what keeps you going.
That's what keeps me going. And my wife is an amazing woman, and Hudson is, like, coming to practice with me sometimes,
He's
and he's
just turned
hanging
2, right?
out. He just turned 2, yeah, in October, but it is hard. It's exhausting. No,
Has the workload gotten harder, or has it stayed the same
right.
over a decade of you teaching?
I think it's gotten harder. I feel like we're continually being asked to do more with less.
Okay.
That's how I feel. I
I
feel
remember
like
in the '80s, the games were used to be during school times as well.
right, also great point. That's a great point. Yeah. Um, yeah, I know. I think that, like, coaching is a huge one, and basketball is the longest season of any BC school sport, so it feels long.
Right.
Uh, but also, like, I experienced sport changing my life,
That's fair.
and I've seen it change all of these kids' lives.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess in a way also it's changing your coworkers' lives and lots of different it hits every aspect.
It does, for sure. And she came out after high school, but I feel like that story is, like, everywhere,
Right.
and I think, like, that motivates me, like, as well, is, like, people are people, and, like, you just need to see that, and there's so many
Yes.
people that get to see that through how we act and treat our students and players,
Yeah. No, that's so true, and that's so well said.
regardless where they're from and, like, what their background is.
Yeah. We just need to we need to stop dehumanizing everybody.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna be an easy question, but
That's okay.
we've talked about how rewarding and how hard everything is. What
Yeah,
would you say to a teacher that or to someone who wants to be a teacher or a new teacher who maybe is trying to get into high school or PE or um into a position that does seem like it's dominated by people who don't look like them or have
right.
the same background as them and they're struggling, what would you say to those teachers?
A little bit of what I just said of, like, you have to really wanna do this because it's hard work, and if you wanna do this job well, it takes a lot from you,
Yeah.
but being able to show up authentically as yourself and have a positive impact in people's lives helps fill it back up, and if you just wanna show up and leave every day, it's really hard for your cup to get full
Right.
without building connections with people in the building, whether that's students or staff. It's not something you can do alone,
Yeah.
you know? And like Have boundaries. Yeah, work on your own boundaries, like I'm doing now.
Those healthy boundaries.
And just, like, try things. Like, I think a lot of new teachers are maybe not, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're not, like, maybe they have better boundaries than my generation. And so they're like, "I'm not doing that,"
Yeah.
you know? And, like, that's good for them, but I also feel like they miss out on some of the cup-filling moments. So when they're feeling drained, I don't
It's so
know, it's
true.
so hard. It's so hard because, like, ethically, I'm like, "Don't do a whole bunch of work for free."
Yeah.
But, like, emotionally and cup filling, for me, is all of the shit I do for free, which tends to be a lot.
You do a lot.
And but also, like, if those things didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be a teacher.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, I wouldn't actually be wanting to go to work, you know?
Yeah. I do think community is really, really important. And I do think
Yeah.
it sucks because for me, as a learning support teacher, they've taken away collab time. So, like, my job
Right.
8 or 9 years ago, even at a quote unquote challenging school, looked really different because we had collab
Yeah.
time every after once one afternoon every week or every
Yeah.
other week. And even 7 years ago, I had that. Now we don't have any collab time. Everything has to be before or after school. A bunch of us have
Yeah.
kids and we all have to race around.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but one thing I do think is like just trying to find that community piece because
Totally.
even if it's like, oh, you know what, I have 10 minutes, I'm gonna go see who's still around and have a quick chat or something. Like I know personally I find that really rewarding because the isolation is what kills, I think, teachers.
Me too.
And so anytime that and it's so easy to be isolated because I think schools are isolating,
That's true.
but the only thing that makes me want to come back is the fact that I do whenever I have time go and talk with other teachers or I go for a walk at lunch when I don't have to work like try to catch up on work over lunch because then you're like talking to someone and you're outside.
Yep. Yep. I think I totally agree with you. And, like, I think the reason school is, like, you are bonding
Yes.
together over all of these things because you're actually not gonna make it without building these relationships. Like,
Yeah.
we just had someone last week, like, come into our staff room, and they're like, "Why is everybody in here eating lunch together, talking?" And, like, we have a fireplace set up and a Christmas tree, and there's a coffee station, and
Yeah.
my friend and I run Survivor for the school in the month of December. Like, we just started a culture and climate committee for because we were having problems, and so we started a culture and climate community.
That's
So
amazing.
committee, and so it's like, we're trying to build a positive culture through relationships. So, like, we had dance party Fridays, and a Friday
Nice.
ago, there was bingo in the hallway, and we do this survivor thing. And yeah, like, I think that those are the things that I would tell a new teacher to get involved with.
Yeah.
Don't just show up and leave. You gotta find that. Otherwise, it is too exhausting. And
Yeah,
you
you need to
need to,
find
like,
yes.
like, you need that.
I think also you need a bestie who will be like, "Is this normal?" Like, I sometimes I go up to people, I'm like, "Okay, I'm new here. It's my second year at this school. This is what happened to me. Does this happen to everybody, or is this something I need to, like, keep on top
Right.
of or be concerned about?" Right? Like, I think
Yeah.
that's also really important.
Yeah. The
But
other
make
thing
sure
I was fought for it, and they try and get rid of it every year and every year because we have focus block. So we have focus block 3 Wednesdays a month, and 1 Wednesday a month, we have a collab 40 or 50 minutes.
and it's important.
It is. It totally is important. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well, thanks for having me on your podcast.
thanks for coming. You know you're a good storyteller, like, and you know you're a good
Yeah.
conversationalist.
Yes. I like all those things.
And thank you for spending your son's nap time with me.
No problem. Listen, this is how my busy life works. I've gotta, like, fit it in between things.
Well,
So
I both think you need to stop being so busy and think